Good afternoon, everybody. So we're going to build on the story that you heard at the keynotes, which was mostly about the base of the hardware that we provide, and we are now going to talk about software. That's the add-on that provides the creativity that with its stability and predictability allows our customers to actually go and create new value. My name is Andrej Zdravkovic, and I'm the Corporate Vice President responsible for software at AMD. So it all starts with a driver. This is the core of our stability. This is where we build with our processes, with the technical knowledge, everything that we end up building on. And then if we speak about the building blocks around the driver, so once we deliver that stable driver, we verify that with testing. And we have a whole lot of 24 hours, 7 days a week testing to make sure that through the stress test the driver sustain. We validate on many different platforms. We validate and work with many different applications, and then we go into the enterprise development and enable enterprise to use this. But of course, nothing of this is important without the performance. So the performance is this add-on where you actually start using this driver in a way that is very efficient and gets the best possible out of the hardware. All of that is the base to then start adding the features to allow the creativity for the creators who use our devices. And let me give you an idea how does that happen and why this is all important. Let's talk about stability first. So example of medical images. So you're again speaking about this this image of how we build that stability up. But in medical images, all of us want this 100% pixel precise. This is the chest cavity X-ray here, and we do a very long and detailed testing to make sure that each image is pixel precise every time. Because of course, we don't want our medical results to have an errors because of our graphics card, of course. And then applications. Applications are where the creativity comes on. These are the layers built upon our graphics card and our drivers, and we work very closely with ISVs. We work to certify these applications and to support them. And when we speak about certification of these applications, I don't know if everybody is aware, a lot of professional applications have a certification procedure that verifies that the software is running perfectly fine on that graphics card, on that driver. What's standard in the industry is you get the driver and then a few months later it is certified on certain application. Well, no, not anymore. We are announcing the 0-day certification program here. That means that every driver, every professional driver that we post, and Glenn is going to explain later on the cadence and the details, is certified with many applications. So we just kind of put them up here. So as the driver comes out, it's fully certified to be used with all of these applications. And you're going to see why this is very important when I start speaking about the places where we can use this driver. Because this thing is certified on everything that we produce. So let's go into more details. Speaking about quality, I cannot give you the names, but let's say major automotive customer, a number of thousands of users using the Siemens NX software. They are running 3 years on our software. We haven't had a single problem reported. And that's testimonial directly coming from the customer. I don't want to use the real customer names. Of course, when we speak about the drivers like that, it's important that we have a performance story as well. And once you first release a product, you need time to pull a maximum performance out of it while preserving the architecture and stability. And we do that all the time. So if you see the improvements of performance, year over year, fantastic improvements. This is same product, just the software on PTC Creo or Viewport for medical or for Maya. You end up seeing the tremendous improvements. And why is this happening? Again, I draw your attention to this picture because this core of a software driver is architected properly. So we can over time start embellishing it and getting the best possible performance on product. Of course, performance is a driving factor for the professional solutions, but the whole story is about the complete solution. And how we do that? Look at this right now. So keep in mind, this is the whole thing that we're talking about, everything, core, the stability, the performance, but then it starts getting into what we call creative spaces. And this is the way we design software, one piece of software that is applied to all of these creative spaces, and that's the main and most important story. So of course, when we use the traditional workstation, all the features are extremely important, of course, performance and stability. This is your main, definitely today, the main creation point for every application. And our products span from desktop, very high-end desktop workstations, to very high-end mobile workstations, of course. But that's not all, because if you are sitting at your desk and designing, that's one way of looking at it. But you want to be able to design on the go. What you want to do, you want to actually move your design capabilities on your travel, on your holidays, even on the work site. And this is what our remote workstation allows. So this is the situation where your system is sitting somewhere in the office and you are remoting into that system and you get actually features and performance parity. It's very cost effective, it's easy to deploy. But there is more. So this is one-to-one, and there is more. There is multi-GPU technology. That's the technology we spoke about today, where you can actually use one GPU and slice it to 4, 8, or maybe even 16 users. What is different about AMD is we have this thing called SRIOV, the hardware level slicing of the GPU, so we offer quality of service. It is not going ever to happen that one user is going to take more of the GPU than they are allowed. That's important for the costing as well. You always get the portion that you're paying for, and that then gets into private and public cloud, where you start using virtual desktop as a service in a virtual mode. But what's important here is something very different from, let's say, our competition. It is one driver. So the same driver that is certified on desktop and mobile workstation, the same driver that can work on a remote workstation, works in a cloud environment, in a desktop as a service situation. And there is more. We so far spoke about creators, so people who design new stuff. But in every company, there are 10 people who use the content. There is one designer who creates and dreams up the systems and images. But even in purchasing, they want to see the design of that product. So that's what we are doing right now with a commercial client. That's something new that we are releasing right now. We are actually allowing users on non-professional systems to use the power of these systems, not to create, not to have the feature-rich environment to create new value, but to view the designs in a very predictable way, to view designs in a way that they're not going to hang their system because they're looking at some very complicated CAD image. So that increases productivity dramatically and definitely simplifies all that we do in IT, of course. And then let's talk about some of the features. The ray tracing. AMD ProRender exists for quite a long time. The ProRender is the way of showing the image the way you see the image. So it's very different from traditional raster representation of the image. It brings images to life, like this motorcycle over here. I actually wish I had something like that. It's really cool. Anyways, looking at the images like that, usually designers are used into kind of creating something and then trying to see this image ray traced. That's how the ProRender works. But with something new, which is the workflow view, we are introducing a plugin of ProRender, and now the ISV applications can actually include the ProRender in their viewport. So typical design is here. This is what you get. You have this kind of block shaded or flat shaded image, and that's how you try to verify your design. And if you want to see something that how is this really going to look like, you go into the offline rendering. Now, right now you can be in your viewport. While designing, you can actually see how the part that you're designing is going to look like. And that allows you, as you are designing with the ProRender, to get your decisions completely real time. So in order to get closer to our customers and to ISVs, we actually decided to do one thing more. We decided to start sharing our roadmap. So to clearly start announcing what is going to come in future. Of course, we cannot be 100% transparent, but the predictability in this market is extremely important. And with that predictability, the market kind of gets it easier and the customer gets it easier. So this is the this quarter, next quarter, and coming features. We will be publishing that going forward, and we can answer the questions later. So I spoke about the viewport rendering already. So this is where you see what you're designing. Look at this image. It's a kind of, it signifies all the details of that engine, gives you, it all pops up in real life. It's not some flat shaded thing. But with the ray tracing, there is a little bit of an issue. It's actually fairly complicated technology. And if you really do a whole lot of ray tracing, you need a whole lot of computing power. So, of course, you would like to actually get to this image with a little bit less of the power. So what have we introduced here is something new. This is what we call machine learning denoising. We have a demo downstairs. It's ultra cool. I invite you to go and see it. The whole idea is, if you have an image that comes either ray traced or even raster, and you see a lot of grainy details here. The reason is very simple. You just haven't applied enough computing power to this image. So what we did, we used our ROCm software to do the training of our systems into on these kind of professional images, and then we apply this in the form of inference on the specific image to improve the image. So have a look at this glass here, or this glass here, and we'll just apply the magic of this machine learning denoising that will be coming as a release thing next quarter. I'll see how you can have a look, and this is how it looks like. It is the same picture before and after denoise. I'll do that once more because it's really cool. Look at this. This is the image. You apply the denoising technology to it that we have created, and this is what you get. So absolutely impressive, I must say. I'm proud of my team, so I always kind of says that that I have to kind of go with that. So with all of that, I try to give you the idea of what's really happening with our software and what you're trying to do. And I spoke constantly about the core of the design and the stability and then building upon that. But I'm not asking you to take our word for that. So the independent study by QA consultants delivered this quote. They tested the drivers from us and from the competition, and they have this is some form of a stress test that they used, and 93% of the driver in terms of time survived, while 82 on the competition side. So they proclaimed that we are the most stable driver in the industry, which proves this whole story of building up from this architecture, design, processes, and stability build up. So that's what I wanted to share with you, and Glenn and I can answer any questions, or if you don't have questions, then I'll have to read all the disclaimers. So,
Hey, before we go to questions, I can just round out a few things. First of all, for the enterprise driver, so this is the technology that we use for our enterprise driver. The enterprise driver goes out quarterly to our customers. So it's the second Thursday of the second month of each quarter that goes out. So the next enterprise driver is next week. So it's on the 14th. At the end of this week, we'll be sending out an e-blast to everyone so that you guys have all that information and you guys can write about it. Now, a lot of what we've just heard from Andre is also in that. So this, of course, is not under NDA, so you're all welcome to write about this right now. Okay.
Well, it's streamed online.
And plus, the world starting in
The world
Australia
already
knows all about it.
Yeah, there must be a buzz. Have the stock price changed in 5 minutes?
We've got viewers from around the world, not just Australia. They're all
Of course.
only just getting up in Australia. So.
Okay, questions?
Yes.
So the machine learning denoiser, is that going to be applied to the core Radiant ProRender next quarter, or is it going to be applied to every single Radiant ProRender implementation you have, like SolidWorks?
It is a module that is created for the ProRender. That's where we plan to apply it, and we will have a couple of versions of it. There will be a standard version that is completely available for use. So I can see that one can apply it to any other technology, so any other type of imagery as well. The trick with that is that with all the machine learning techniques, you have to train the neural network, and our neural network now is trained to actually work on these professional images. So ProRender is the first application.
What I meant is it, will it be available in ProRender for SolidWorks? Will it be available in ProRender for Max?
So it's available starting next quarter
Yeah.
for integration, so with our ISV partners to take it and then integrate it into applications.
Okay.
That's our first wave to go with it.
Yeah.
So we may follow up with some of these situations where we have plugins
Yeah.
to put those in as well.
So it won't automatically become part of the plugins that you currently offer online.
Correct. It's addition to the plugin.
It's additional.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, please.
When do you plan to support DirectX ray tracing, and do you plan to have some hardware accelerated ray tracing?
No, it's ray tracing as accelerated ray tracing is something on the roadmap, so that will be coming later. I cannot give you the dates right now. We have focused on ProRender as a technology, and we have worked with that through a hybrid rendering that we announced at that was the GBC, right?
Yes.
This year, right? And so currently that's the path that we are driving for the professional applications. You are going to, we have 2 more minutes. You're going to force me to read the disclaimers. So you better off with the question. Yes.
Just a carry on from the denoising thing. Is it so you've trained it specifically to understand how design viz focused images would happen?
Correct.
But would there be any training for a different set of training for ArcViz, or is that something a custom could do as well? Or
It's currently we are not planning to offer the whole kind of a training infrastructure, because we did that back on our Wacom kind of big servers and stuff like that, big graphics processors like Commodus ones. The nature of training is that it does tremendous improvement on any type of the image. It performs the best on the images that they are kind of similar. So that's what we are going to be releasing right now. So, well, we need to see also the level of adoption, and then see where we're going to take it. Right now, we are putting it as something completely new.
Right. I just want to add to that too. So our strategy with rendering is to democratize it. Right. So if you look around at the world today, you have a small percentage of people who are actually rendering, especially in the product design space. So everybody should be rendering. They should know what's happening. They should be making decisions in real time, and then away they go, right? So what we're doing here is we're enabling ISVs to take this technology. We're not going to limit how they use it, right? So if somebody decides to go do that with it, then absolutely.
I've got some questions from the live stream.
Great.
The ProRender is just part of the driver, right? It's
It's actually an additional component. Sorry, I'll have to zoom this.
Yeah.
It's an additional component that
it's free, or you have to buy it.
ProRender is on GPU Open. It's an open source component, and you can download it and use it.
So
there is a licensing agreement that you have to sign and stuff like that, but it's free to use.
And so for ISVs, that's the case, and you go there. For end users, we do have some plugins that are on our website. So if you go to AMD.com, then you look under Radeon ProRender, then you'll find it there. There's also, it's available with Maxon. It's coming into Moto, which is beta right now. So it's available to end users that way.
I'm expecting you can't answer yet, but the one question is, will this technology come to the consumer hardware that you'll launch in the future?
So everything with ProRender runs on all hardware. So it's not just limited to Radeon Pro, it runs on Radeon as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, all hardware open. Let's do one more question, we are done with on time.
So the okay.
Yes, please.
Currently you're offering the only the Radeon Pro software for the just for the Radeon Pro. It means that the discrete graphics. Do you have any plan to offering the integrated graphic like Ryzen Pro or such kind of era?
We have the ability to do that. It more depends on the OEMs to decide to create the systems with our APUs. Our APUs are right now becoming extremely capable. So Ryzen Mobile is a very, very good system and very capable. Our graphics is twice two of the competition at this point in time, this system. So yes, I expect this is going to happen very quickly.
Okay.
Thank you very much for attending.
We still have 10 minutes.
Oh, we still have 10 minutes?
Plenty more questions.
You told me 20.
Well, it's only really 10 because that's right, 10 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, so we have a few more minutes. There was one more question I said over there.
Maybe a little more broader approach to GPU acceleration on the media creation software. It turns out to me that most of the suits that people use are either CUDA or QuickSync optimized, but only very few of them use the Radeon features. Like for instance, the hardware encoders for H.264 or H.265. Are you planning to put some more support to ISPs there?
Well, we have a fairly open open system, so yes, we can do that. I mean, the reality is, CUDA is a dominant machine learning platform, and we are catching up with our stuff. But the very important part in that is we have a different approach. Our approach is fully open. So our ROCm platform is completely open source. It's posted on GPU Open. So there is no black box that you don't know what's going on. And the adoption, of course, takes time. But with the quality of the hardware product, openness of software, and stability of software, I'm certain that we'll just very quickly catch up. I think they're talking next door about that, so we don't get much more precise information there.
Great.
I've just not hog the questions, but
Yes.
it's about the 0-day certification
Yes.
program. So when you launch your enterprise driver, you're saying every application is certified that.
Well, I can't say every application. There is a list of the application. It's about 35, something
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
just under 40. So, yeah, I mean, ultimately, so the process that Andre went through where we talk about the core, so if we're doing that properly, it's very predictable what's going to happen with our certifications. So we have a very good line of sight in terms of are we going to get certification or not. So what we can do is before we actually hit that date for the enterprise driver that goes live, we're working with the ISVs to have it so that we have certifications at that point. So we have the predictability on close to 40 of them that we know basically right at that point we can get those certifications. There are others that may come a little bit after or are built on top of that and happen at the same time. Really kind of depends on when that point is that we can give that driver with the hardware to the ISV.
Yes.
So we are going to be very transparent with what is the driver certified on, and so it's a kind of a suite of applications, but I think most of the major ones are in there. Some are still working on a system certification only, so therefore there's no way for us to release a driver that is certified. But with these, we are actually working to kind of get to the level that software-wise we understand where we are. The goal, the idea is, it will never be all the applications because there are so many out there, but Glenn is very carefully watching the list, so everybody who is important will get in that group for sure.
Go on.
Sorry, a key point about this is relationships, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about having that relationship with the ISV. So we work very closely on several levels. So we have an ISV alliance team which works at the business level, so we know what they're doing. We also then have engineers that work with them very closely. And that's before anything that happens inside the driver where we change any code or anything like that. So by having that relationship, then in addition to the stability, it drives further predictability. So we share our roadmaps with them, we share hardware before it goes to production. So there really are no surprises when a product comes out. And that's important for the customer because then they know they've got a good experience. For people who aren't familiar, certification is important. Because what it does is it allows you, if you're using that application, to make sure that you're safe in terms of being supported. So the certification means that with that application and our hardware, if you have a problem, you call up, then you're going to get that support.
So it's kind of a gentleman's agreement with the ISVs that they're going to certify in time.
No, it is certified. It is when it comes out, it is certified. It is work in advance
Yeah.
to make sure that that we know where we are. As you are qualifying your driver from the point when we have a very organized process where we have certain kind of data in our release candidates and so on. So we start working to certify the driver. So we at the point when it gets general availability, it is certified.
Okay.
And it's similar to on the gaming side, we have day zero. So when a game drops, then we have a driver that's ready for that. Basically following similar principles to that. More questions?
Okay. There are no questions. I have to go into. No, I'm joking. Thank you very much for being here. If any questions after the session or the break, or